Hey toy collectors, welcome to another super exciting, outrageous toy review. Today we're taking a look at the Masters of the Universe Origins Manny Faces figure. Heroic, human, robot, or monster. It has a call out on the front that says his head turns to 3 different faces, and of course modern posing but retro play. The back of the package has some great new artwork of the character. And down below there's the cross-sell artwork as well as call-outs for his action feature. I'm starting to think Walmart canceled my pre-order for Trapjaw, because he's the only guy from this wave that hasn't shown up. Here we've got Manny Faces out of the package, and I am wondering the same thing I wonder when I look at the vintage figure. Is he got exposed flesh, or does he have like a weirdish yellowish orange bodysuit on? I can never figure it out, but I think he has the strangest flesh tone, if that's his skin. Manny Faces comes with a copy of the Double Trouble mini comic. This is the first time I've gotten one that was all bent up and boogered up in the package. Not that I'm that super worried about saving these as a collector. I mean, I'll probably keep one of each, but I'm not going to worry about saving one for every figure in the line. But, as a kid, I did enjoy the mini comics, and I think I would have been disappointed getting one that was kind of mangled. And at this point in the review, you're all going, come on, Kevin, why haven't you shown us Manny Faces' action feature yet? So let's check it out. We've got his human face here. He's got the little knob on the top of his head. We can rotate it to the robot, and we can rotate it again to the monster face. This is easy to spin, like easier than the vintage figure for sure. They look great. I still think this one needs a little bit more paint, but I think the vintage one didn't have the teeth painted in or whatever. It's a really funky feature, and I've heard that this helmet piece can come off, and you can actually look at that head, because they have reused this torso and helmet with a different face for one of the wrestling figures. But I've also heard that it pops off easy after you do it, so in a lot of ways, I kind of just want to leave it on. But that's amazing that the head turns, so check that out. I'm actually getting, like, articulated head movement with this guy, which he's never been able to do before. He's got some great-looking hoses and things on his chest there. He's got that classic Trapjaw, Manny Faces, leg armor and arm armor. Some of this stuff got reused, or Roboto, I think, used these arms. There's a lot of part reusage in Masters of the Universe, and you can kind of recognize that as you look at the figures. The sculpting looks good. The paintwork is very nice. His blaster is a little bit more of a pale orange than it usually is, but it fits nicely in his hand. Let's take a look at the figure's articulation, and if you've seen many Motu Origins reviews, you kind of know what's going on here. The head obviously does not have standard articulation. It's not a ball joint. You can't look around or anything like that, because this one is a little bit different compared to most figures. But he has articulation in the shoulders. It moves out to the side, up and down. He's got elbow joint. He's got wrist swivels and a hinge in those. He's got a swivel at the waist. He's got hip joints that can move out to the side and forward and backwards. He's got knee joints that rotate as well as bend. He's got a boot cut articulation point, and he's got a hinge going on, or a swivel going on, and his ankles will have to move around a little bit. It is not as great of a range of motion as a lot of the characters, and that's just based on the shape of that boot. And of course, he does contain the mix and match feature that so many of these characters do, where you can pull different appendages apart to mix and match with other characters. This is just sort of a general thought about toy collecting. As a collector of toys from the 80s, usually our figures are missing the things like accessories, because the figures were really rugged and solid and stayed together in one piece, but you would lose the swords and the guns and capes and things like that. More modern toys, as articulation has increased, you have more and more joints that can pop apart, heads that can come off, hands that can come out of their sockets. And I've noticed that if you go to flea markets or toy shows and things like that, you start to see these late 90s, early 2000s action figures, like Star Wars characters, where there's a head missing or a hand missing. I wonder what will happen with a line like this that encourages the mix and match feature, whether we'll see down the road that Motu Origins, in the secondary market, there's a lot that are missing pieces, or if they'll generally stay together, because, granted, this is very much aimed at adult collectors. There should be plenty that stay in one piece, but there is also that kid factor, which Mattel's banking on, that these are popular with kids, will we see in 10 years from now, toy boxes full of these guys get unloaded at the flea market or at toy shows and things like that, antique models and swap meets, and we'll find, a Skeletor with a Man-E-Face's arm or a guy missing his hand or something like that. Only time will tell, but I do think about that kind of stuff sometimes when they go super articulated on toys. These joints are pretty snug, so hopefully when kids pop these guys together, they'll stay together and they won't end up losing pieces. To be or not to be? I've always thought Man-E-Face's actor thing was kind of weird. If he's going to be an actor, he would probably want to have more faces than just 3. I'm not sure having a human face, a robot face, and a monster face all in a robotic human body really gives him that great of range. Like the card art shows him, on stage and in battle in the same outfit. I've always thought that was pretty ridiculous, even as a kid. I really liked how in the 2000X show they played up his personality changing with the different faces, and I think that's a cool gimmick that I didn't really get so much as a kid. Maybe I just missed it in the Filmation episodes back then, but I didn't really see him specifically being different, having different abilities, like the monster being stronger and the robot being a target, better shooter, better marksman, something like that. But I think that is a great concept for the character and the way I would try and explain him if I was, getting a kid into this toy line. Thanks for watching this super exciting, outrageous toy review. Make sure to like, subscribe, and check out our other videos.